Going to open the meeting with the stand and pledge of allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We'll have roll call.
Dan Pillow.
Here.
Jennifer Wiehe.
Here.
Jennifer Anderson. Ann Pillow.
Here.
Al Glick.
Here.
Pam Jackson.
Here. And Jennifer Anderson did text me and said she was not able to make it back in time from Dayton. She has some family business she's dealing with there.
I'll make a motion to excuse the absence of Councilwoman Anderson.
I'll second it.
Motion by Dan Pillow, second by Al Glick. Any discussion? No discussion, we'll vote.
Dan Pillow.
Yay.
Jennifer Wiehe.
Yay.
Ann Pillow.
Yay.
Al Glick.
Yay.
Pam Jackson.
Yay.
Mr. Kelly.
And then we'll go ahead and start with clerk's report when she's ready.
Okay. You received the minutes from the last meeting on April the 3rd.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes from April the 3rd, 2023.
I'll second it.
Motion by Pam Jackson, second by Al Glick. Any discussion? No discussion, we'll vote.
Dan Pillow.
Yay.
Jennifer Wiehe. Ann Pillow.
Yay.
Al Glick.
Yay.
Pam Jackson.
Yay.
You received pay ordinance 4E. This was for biweekly payroll that was paid on April the 7th. Dispersed from the general fund, $12,212.14. From the water fund, $2,576.44 for a combined total of $14,788.58.
I'll make a motion to approve 4E, 2023.
I'll second it.
Motion by Pam Jackson, second by Al Glick. Any discussion? No discussion, we'll vote.
Dan Pillow.
Yay.
Jennifer Wiehe.
Yay.
Ann Pillow.
Yay.
Al Glick.
Yay.
Pam Jackson.
Yay.
Next, you have 4F. This is for accounts payable. Dispersed from the Fire EMS Fund, $21,465.72. From the General Fund, $20,000. From the COVID-19 Fund, $6,000 for a combined total of $47,465.72.
I'll make a motion to approve 4F, 2023.
I'll second it.
Motion by Pam Jackson, second by Al Glick. Any discussion? No discussion, we'll vote.
Dan Pillow.
Yay.
Jennifer Wiehe. Ann Pillow.
Yay.
Al Glick.
Yay.
Pam Jackson.
Yay.
And I sent it out a little bit late, but I did send it to you, and if anybody wants a hard copy, I do have a few extra. This is the bank real reconciliation as of March. Prior balance was $309,088.65. Receipts were $118.41 and $41.76. Payments was $102,330.20. There was other adjustments, and that was $31,172.12, which was a receipt and pending receipt in the February statement. And then there was adjustments of, oh, I'm sorry, I'm reading you the wrong report. Sorry about that. I wonder why that was laying there. Okay, starting over. This is the one for March 31st, and you should have received it. The prior ending, well, the starting bank balance was $324,821. Receipts was $119,190.89. Payments was $193,684.70. The current balance in UAN was, for all funds, was $250,306.40. Other adjustments was $119,172.12, and those are made up of, there was a deduction for a returned customer's check, And there was also the debit memo for the loan, which was the $1,080. And then the loan that was transferred into our account was the $119,000. It was $88,000, and then their outstanding receipt was $31,172.12 for a total of $119,172.12. And if you look through here, you can see the bank statements for the 3 funds we have and a copy of all funds. So our ending balance, adjusted balance, is $369,478.52.
I'll make a motion to accept the bank reconciliation reports to council.
I'll second it.
Motion by Pam Jackson, second by Al Glick. Any discussion? No discussion, we'll vote.
Dan Pillow,
Yay.
Jennifer Wiehe,
Yay.
Ann Pillow,
Yay.
Al Glick,
Yeah.
Pam Jackson.
Yay.
When you come in tonight, you should have received a copy of the mayor's monthly financial statement. This was for Mayor's Court as of 4/17/2023. Total city funds is $5,093. Sent into the state indigent defense, victims of crime and drug law enforcement, $1,338. Other court costs is $48. Total revenue was $6,479, and as I said, deposited into the village fund was $5,093. And this is submitted by Mayor Lisa Mear.
Make a motion to receive the mayor's report.
I'll second it.
Motion by Dan Pillow, second by Al Glick. Any discussion? No discussion, we'll vote.
Dan Pillow,
Yay.
Jennifer Wiehe, Ann Pillow,
Yay.
Al Glick,
Yeah.
Pam Jackson.
Yay.
Next, you received a copy of the Addyston Board of Public Affairs meeting, April the 13th, 2023 minutes. This is a draft copy. It also has the March 13th minutes on there. It has a copy of their March pay ordinance and also their February collection report, which was collected in March for the month of February.
Mayor, well, I'm glad to see the president of the board here. I just had a little question that confused me a little bit. In the 6th paragraph, it talked about, moving the amount, I have no problem with that, of usage to 3,000 gallons minimum. But it goes on to say, since actual usage is now being charged, is that correct?
Mm-hmm.
Were you, well,
Before, we
last
weren't actually reading the meters.
You're actually
Now we're
reading the
actually
meter.
reading the meters, yes.
Yeah, but you're not using
Charging for
actual.
what's on the meter. So that's why we're raising it up to 3,000 gallons.
Okay. But I didn't understand that when I was in the last meeting. In other words, do we think in terms of actual reading, that the reading will read 156,000 and whatever, instead of being, 1,000 to 1,000 to
It's still
1,000?
going to be 1,000 to 1,000 to 1,000.
That's what yeah, so it's not actual.
No, it's just reading in 1,000 increments.
Okay, thanks.
There's also something in front of you, if you want to go by the gallon, you can do that, but it'd be about $100,000 to replace all those.
Yeah, I appreciate it, Jason.
Council, what's your pleasure on the submitted report from Water Board?
I make a motion to receive the water board's report.
I'll second it.
Motion by Dan Pillow, second by Pam Jackson. Is there any further discussion? No discussion, we'll vote.
Dan Pillow,
Yay.
Jennifer Wiehe,
Yay.
Ann Pillow,
Yay.
Al Glick,
Hey.
Pam Jackson.
Yay.
I also sent out to you guys a copy of the Hamilton County Stormwater District. This is the levied money that they put on everybody's tax duplicate. This is to help with the repairs for the stormwater district. Each year, council votes on this. You have your choice of direct billing, meaning us, or putting it on the tax duplicate, and then they collect it. And that's what council has elected to do ever since I can remember.
Let's have them do it.
Yes.
Yep.
I'll make a motion that we continue to have that put on our tax duplicates.
And I'll second
Is
it.
that an option?
Motion by Dan Phillips, second by Pam Jackson. Any discussion? No discussion, we'll vote.
Dan Pillow.
Yay.
Jennifer Wiehe.
Yay.
Ann Pillow.
Yay.
Al Glick.
Yay.
Pam Jackson.
Yay.
And I will see that it gets back to Hamilton County to the proper channels. I'm just looking to see. Oh, the other thing I have for council is, does everybody remember this book? Well, I have researched that, and from that, I dug into old minute books. The VFW Globetrotters Post here in Addyston received a official request from a Phyllis Johnson. She was asking the VFW to have her Uncle Joe Scott name put on the monument. The VFW could not find any records on this person, this Joe Scott, so she come to me. They actually brought the letter to me also and asked me to look. I went back through that book and took dates from that book to do with World War I, World War II, Vietnam, Korea. I could not find anything in our minute book where the village actually built that monument. It does refer to council granting permission for the VFW to relocate their original post home to the site they are now near the Veterans Monument. So, like I said, I have searched and searched, and I really can't find where the village built that monument. From talking to people older than I am, they seem to think that maybe the veterans after World War II got together and built it with the council's blessing and raised money to put the names on there, because the minutes that I found refer to Abe Lawson and different ones, Ed Slowbaum, who was a master concrete person. So the lady tonight, when I talked to her, she said, well, there's a new name on there. You can see that it's new to the other names that are there. And I told her, I know that that is true because I've seen it, but I don't have any record where the village paid to have anything put on there.
Yeah. Well, yeah, you're right. The VFW did build that, and we assumed caretaking of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, we maintained it.
And in around 72 or 3, they added the 2 wings.
Yeah, it's in here.
Yeah, and when they added 2 wings, they did repairs on the existing monument and maybe added a name or 2.
Yeah.
I think the only way to really be able to substantiate that is to go to the census around that time and see if in fact that name comes up as a resident of the village of Addyston.
Well, she said that this is her Uncle Joe. He's a brother to Nick Scott and William Scott, who was on the monument. And he also served in World War II at the same time Nicholas did, but the other brother was Korean War. I just want council to know that I'm trying everything
Sure.
I can to
Is
assist
he
the
older
lady.
or younger than Nick, who we know?
She's got like a family tree
Oh, okay.
thing here that says, you know, so she did say that she sent to Missouri to get a copy of his DD 214, but personally knowing and being involved in the Veterans of Foreign Wars, that they do not have records there, but they can refer you where to go, and you can actually go online and fill out an application, and they will send like a fax to you to ask you more detailed information, because they just won't release it to anybody, you know. And like I said, she called me again tonight and was asking, and like I said, I've been trying for well over a month to
Yeah.
go back through minutes, and I mean, I have went back through minutes. I mean, I made copies of, you know, the minutes from, like, this one here is where they voted to allow them to build the new post home, the big one there at Main Street, because that was up on Church Street. And it just refers to the building close to Veterans Park. And then this one is here when Mrs. Plunkett went around and gathered donations, collected donations to have the other two wings added. So do you want me to try to keep pursuing it? I mean, like I said, I really, really have tried. I mean, do I turn it back to the VFW and let them see what other records they may have?
Well,
I would turn it back over to the VFW because, I mean, they're gonna be able to see if the guy lives in the village of Addyston
yeah,
and go back and look at all his military forms. And
Well,
if he
they don't have any military forms on him at the VFW. That's why they sent it, dropped it off to me. And they did tell the lady that.
well, I certainly think the onus is on the family. I mean, you try to
Okay.
do everything you can to help.
I have, honestly.
Yeah,
And it being
but I
a
would-
veteran close to my heart, I wouldn't
Sure,
try anything for
absolutely. I
any
wouldn't
of
want
them.
to see anybody left off of that monument.
All right.
But I think, you know, that they're going to have to do some digging.
Yeah, the family's gonna have to do a lot of work to figure out what address he lived at, where he
Yeah.
lived at.
I know it's a lot of work, but
More information on him particularly.
Yeah. And then almost on the same note with that is that apparently her name is Phyllis Johnson, and apparently she's made a request. I don't know if it was to our police department or if it was to Aaron. It wasn't to me, but she wants to know about if she can come and go through the old court docket books. And I told her that I would bring it to council, and that I also expressed to her that those books aren't easy to get to yet. I mean, they're
What
from
years
top
is
to
she
bottom.
looking to for? She doesn't know.
I don't really know if she knows what years. She didn't really specify what years. But the request is out there, and I'll get more information from her, and we'll try to assist her as much as we can with looking at old records. It's not minutes she wants to see. She wants to see, I guess.
I mean, couldn't you look it up to a library to look up old records like that to figure out what year that he served in the military?
Well, if she would go online, there's such a thing, it's called an I-80 or an I-90 form. You can go in, you can fill it out online, and you can request all this information. Like I said, they will reach out to her, but you have to have like a fax machine where they can fax you at that time. Then you have to respond back from that fax, you know, to them.
Yeah,
And like I said, I do know that there aren't records at Kansas City, and the records were destroyed, but there's other means of finding
that would
records.
kind of be put up to the family to do
Yeah.
that, I would think.
Well, I just wanted council to be aware of it, that the BFW brought it to me.
Yeah, you
She's
tried.
come to see me, and I really diligently tried to help her any way I could.
and we'll continue if we
Yeah.
happen to run across something.
Absolutely.
That's all I have now.
All right, thank you, Margaret. All right, so I really don't have a lot here, but I just want to let everyone know that Brunky and everything is secured for our cleanup day. Because I know there was a little bit of,
Because I got a lot for
are they
it.
there? But no, we're set up for Rumpke and everything's good to go for the cleanup. And also, I just wanted to run something by council. I was contacted by a man named Dave, I think it was, about having a soccer practice down at our park, and I didn't think the council would mind, but I wanted to run that by you guys. It would only be for a duration of 6 weeks, from like 5 to 8. We'd have a lot of people down there. If that's okay with everybody, I mean, I don't think I'd see that
I don't
as
have
a
a
problem.
problem. Could you use the toppers a little too rough?
That's what they want to use.
Oh, the top part.
Yeah, that big
Yeah.
flat there.
Sure.
So I just wanted to run that by you guys.
Somebody's using it. Good.
That's the truth.
Want a good use.
That's kind of what I was looking at. There'd be a lot of adults down there from 5 to 8. Yeah.
Somebody's getting use out of it.
So that's
Is
you
it
know.
youth or do you know what?
I don't know, because I
Okay.
tried to call him back before the meeting tonight just
Yeah.
to get some more details, and he never got back with me. So the
Yeah.
more details I have, I'll just email them out to you guys.
That's okay, it really doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Somebody wants
Just
to
to
use
see a
it.
lot of people down there playing.
That's what it's there for, to get used.
Yeah,
Yeah.
might give some other people an idea.
Well, and I was thinking too, with that many people utilizing the park that way, get pictures. And that way, when you do grants, things like, see people like this park and, you know.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
So that's a good picture moment as well.
Want to get his photographer skills out.
If I think of anything else to bring up, I'll just turn it over to Bob at this point.
Mayor, I have a question.
Go ahead.
Can you give us an update on 32 Main? I've been asked about that several times, where we are in the tear down of that property, if you have any idea.
I think Dustin could probably better answer that question.
Oh, okay, great.
We'll wait on
Because-
Dustin.
Waiting to hear back from Duke Energy that all the utilities have been taken care of for all the demo properties.
Okay, we have a demo
Date.
person, we have a,
They've been awarded to 2
Awarded?
different people, yeah.
okay, great.
Yeah,
Do they
so
have a
they're
date yet?
awarded and
Yeah, thanks, appreciate it.
no problem. Hopefully here soon. I wish it could be a little faster.
Takes them forever, that's for sure.
Yeah, well, and the bidding process too took a while as well, so. But we're at the end point,
That's right, we're moving.
exactly. All right, Bob.
First item I have is a resolution approving the appointment of Michael Dreyer to the position of Lieutenant of the Village of Addyston Police Department.
Everything been done. All his background stuff been done.
I haven't received that yet. Have you received that, Eric, the one
Haven't got
you get from the
anything yet,
state?
But it's, it was scheduled, and he's already taken it.
You're talking about the physical part.
Yeah.
I'm talking about the one you usually send them through and get something back that you send to me.
Oh, we did all that. when
Psych
he came on
evaluation and
auxiliary.
all that.
Please?
We did all that when he was an auxiliary officer months ago.
You should have that actually on file.
Yeah.
Well, in answer to your question, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, he was, since he was an internal candidate, we didn't do another.
Yeah, it's just that when things are like that, and the contact that I use at Ohio Police and Fire, sometimes they'll kick things back because the date's not a current date.
Gotcha.
But that's,
If we need to do
yeah.
a current date, then we can
Yeah.
update everything, yeah.
And he has been working.
He has been working.
Yeah, the council actually already approved that.
Yeah, he's been working.
Yeah. Before he went full-time, it was part-time, wasn't it?
It's part-time, and then he would go full-time, but I still need an ordinance because you made him lieutenant. I need something to support that for the next audit
Sure.
with the rate of pay that he's being paid, even though it's on the pay sheet.
Sure.
Yes, I'll make the motion to, okay, read 3 times by title only and declare an emergency to approve the resolution for the Michael Dreyer for the position of the lieutenant.
Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Motion by Pam, seconded by Al Glick. Any discussion? No discussion, we'll vote.
Dan Pillow,
Abstain?
Jennifer Wiehe,
Yeah.
Ann Pillow,
Yay.
Al Glick,
Yay.
Pam Jackson.
Yay.
First reading a resolution approving the appointment of Michael Dreyer to the position of Lieutenant of the Village of Addyston Police Department. Second reading a resolution approving the appointment of Michael Dreyer to the position of Lieutenant of the Village of Addyston, Ohio, of the Village of Addyston Police Department. Third reading a resolution approving the appointment of Michael Dreyer to the position of Lieutenant of the Village of Addyston Police Department.
I'll make a motion to approve as read.
I'll second it.
Motion by Pam Jackson, second by Al Glick. Any discussion? No discussion, we'll vote.
Dan Pillow,
Abstain.
Jennifer Wiehe,
Yay.
Ann Pillow,
Yay.
Al Glick,
Yay.
Pam Jackson.
Yay.
Next, I have an ordinance establishing compensation for the police chief for the Village of Addyston.
What number would that be, Mark?
That's going to be number 2.
Okay, I'll make a motion to suspend the rules, read it by title only 3 times, and declare it an emergency for the chief's compensation.
I will second it.
Motion by Pam Jackson, second by Al Glick. Any discussion? No discussion, we'll vote.
Dan Pillow,
Abstain.
Jennifer Wiehe,
Yay.
Ann Pillow,
Abstain.
Al Glick,
Yay.
Pam Jackson.
Yay.
First reading an ordinance establishing compensation for the police chief for the Village of Addyston. Second reading an ordinance establishing compensation for the police chief for the Village of Addyston. Third reading an ordinance establishing compensation for the police chief for the Village of Addyston.
I'll make a motion to adopt as read.
I'll second it.
Motion by Pam Jackson, second by Al Glick. Any discussion? No discussion, we'll vote.
Dan Pillow,
Abstain.
Jennifer Wiehe,
Yay.
Ann Pillow,
Abstain.
Al Glick,
Yay.
Pam Jackson.
Yay.
Next, I have an ordinance authorizing the mayor and village clerk to enter into a contract with Game Changer Athletics
8.
for the construction of a basketball court at the Addyston Park.
And also Bob with that one. We just want to
Margaret, what
make
was that
note
number?
to change
8
that
for the
dollar
ordinance,
amount, so that
2 for the
it's that
resolution.
I will.
amount. Okay.
So this would be read as amended. The amount of money coming from community development would be $19,981.09, and the total project would be $49,981.09. I'll get that back to you tonight.
Okay.
Thank you. Council, what's your pleasure?
I'm sorry, what was the game changer one?
Did you hear Bob? He explained about the money. The money is going to be different.
Where it says on there $26,630,
Yeah.
that will be $19,981.09, and the total price will be $49,981.09.
49, what was it?
981.09.
I'll make a motion that the rules be suspended, said ordinance be read 3 times by title only, and declared an emergency.
I'll second it.
Motion by Dan Pillow, seconded by Pam Jackson. Any discussion? No discussion, we'll vote.
Dan Pillow,
Yay.
Jennifer Wiehe,
Yay.
Ann Pillow,
Yay.
Al Glick,
Yay.
Pam Jackson.
Yay.
First reading, an ordinance authorizing the mayor and village clerk to enter into a contract with Game Changer Athletics for the construction of a basketball court at the Addyston Park. Second reading, an ordinance authorizing the mayor and village clerk to enter into a contract with Game Changer Athletics for the construction of a basketball court at the Addyston Park. Third reading, an ordinance authorizing the mayor and village clerk to enter into a contract with Game Changer Athletics for the construction of a basketball court at the Addyston Park.
I make a motion that the ordinance be adopted as read.
Second it.
Motion by Dan Pillow, second by Al Glick. Any discussion? No discussion, we'll vote.
Dan Pillow,
Yay.
Jennifer Wiehe,
Yay.
Ann Pillow,
Yay.
Al Glick,
Yay.
Pam Jackson.
Yay.
This will be number 9. And council, just so you know, I don't have this money in my account. I have to send all this to the county for them to do the purchase order and all that stuff.
Yes. Basically, we have to do a request form for the
Yeah.
release of the funds. And we'll take care of that. On that, right? You
Yes.
didn't have anything else for
That's it.
council? Thank you, Bob. Council, before we go to committees, I'm gonna go to department heads, and since we have people in the audience and the president here, we're gonna get to them first. Come on. I'll start with Lieutenant. That way I can get you up and out of here.
Never know.
Okay, for the month of March, we had 2 fire responses, both of them being wires down runs, which with all this wind and storm, and stuff like that, was pretty typical for last month. We had 18 EMS responses. Training hours, our training, we kind of scaled it back a little bit for March. We're trying to start our inspections, pre-plans, hydrants, things like that. Unit 1 had 10.25 hours, Unit 2 had 4 hours, Unit 3 had 8.5 for 22 hours of total shift training for the month. Most of that was focused on just EMS trainings and labor delivery and things like that. We had some guest speakers come out and talk about that from Good Sam Hospital. We had all of our SCBAs annually tested. We have to do that on an annual basis, so Vogel Fire Company did that. We had all of our life packs and our AEDs tested. Like I said, we've started our inspections. I'll go through that here shortly, how many we've done. We started checking our fire hydrants to make sure they're operational. We do that twice a year, once in the spring and then once in the fall. The person who's doing the hydrants in Addyston, I think they're supposed to coordinate with somebody to make sure we're doing it all on the same day. That way we can give notice to the residents, so if it does turn the water, brown or rusty or whatever, they can at least know about that, so they're not doing any laundry and things like that day. So they should be coordinating all that.
You don't know what day they're gonna.
He hasn't said yet, but I know he's gonna give a couple weeks' notice for what day, that way that everybody's on the same page there.
Great, thank you.
No problem. Because I know that was always an
Yeah, that's a
issue,
big thing.
before, so. And that water just sits in there for, however long, it doesn't get flowed, so it turns like that. We had an engine that we put in service. One of ours was wrecked, last year at some point. We bought a spare engine from Loveland Sims Fire Department. It's a 2008 Sutphen. So we put that in service. We did a bunch of training, getting everybody up to date on that to be able to use it as a, as a frontline unit if we have to in the event of, one of our other ones are down for maintenance. Staffing wise, we're trying to get to the point where we're running 6 paramedics per shift. You can see We had 3 shifts of that. We had 22 shifts where we had 5 medics, 31 where we had 4, and our minimum's 3. We had 6 shifts where we had 3. So most of the time we're at 4 or 5, but staffing's, you know, just like with anybody, it's, we're hurting there as well. But we're making the best of what we got. For our code enforcement, we had 26 fire inspections completed. That's throughout the whole township. I don't know exactly how many were in Addyston. I don't have those numbers here, but we didn't have any pre-plans or any fees billed for that time frame. That's really about all I would have, unless there's any questions I can answer. Specific.
Nope.
Council.
Thanks, Lieutenant.
Thank you.
Thank you, Lieutenant. Chief Pennekamp.
You do.
Evening, council. I apologize for the attire, but I was stuck on fatherly duties and didn't think I was gonna get here. So, a few things. Earlier, the clerk read off the mayor's court report. Just want to point out, we are above this point last year by about $700, and I think that trend is gonna continue throughout the year now that our shifts are back fully staffed. So I think that that'll be a positive for the village, obviously, and that's a trend that should keep in that direction. Wanted to give a slight update on 376 Three Rivers Parkway. I know that's an address that's been brought to council's attention a few times in the past few months. Just in this, I think since the last time we've met, we've towed 3 vehicles from there. Numerous citations, we've made 2 felony arrests there. There was a stolen 4-wheeler that was recovered there, and with the assistance of the sheriff's department, we were able to make an arrest and return the property to the owner. So it's still an issue down there, but there has been several opportunities for successful enforcement. As I just mentioned with the mayor's court report, I wanted to touch on the schedule. You guys did get a copy of the April schedule. I'll be sending out one for May here in the next week or so. But I just wanted to point out that May is covered completely. All the shifts are full, and that's with 0 overtime figured in. So that's a good thing.
Good job.
Lieutenant Dreyer, I was going to bring that up, but it's already been mentioned. I just wanted to let them know that he did take his physical, and as far as I know, everything went well on that. I did want to point out an event that myself, the lieutenant, and our clerk, Aaron, attended on Thursday evening. The Hamilton County Police Association yearly has an event for the west side of police agencies in Hamilton County. We were one of the host agencies. It was held in Delhi, and like I said, myself, Lieutenant Dreyer, and our clerk went and represented the police department. It's a very nice thing, get to interact, socialize, bounce some ideas off the other chiefs and see what's going on in the police community. While there, I was approached by a contact that actually worked with my father for Cincinnati Police. He is the curator for the Hamilton County Police Museum, which is, the Greater Cincinnati Police Museum, I'm sorry, and that is downtown. They approached us and asked if we wanted to be the Department of the Month in July. It really doesn't require anything from council. I just wanted to pass that along. What basically that means is in their display case at the front of the museum, our department will be on display. They have some artifacts that they must have gotten previously, but they did reach out and ask if we had anything that we could lend. And with council's approval, I'd like to kind of dig through and see what we have that we could put on loaner for them for the month. Believe it or not, my daughter's soccer coach, his grandfather worked here in the 60s. He has some old badges and patches of his that he's gonna let me borrow and put on display down there. So with council's approval, I'd like to see what we have artifact wise. I don't think it's a ton, but with your permission, if we have something to let them put it on display.
I make a motion that we do that.
Second.
It would be July of this year.
Motion by Dan Pillay, second by Pam Jackson. Any discussion? I think that's great.
It is, that is.
Call for the vote.
Dan Pillow,
Yay.
Jennifer Wiehe, Ann Pillow,
Yay.
Al Glick, Pam Jackson.
Yay.
And I just wanted to briefly touch on cruiser maintenance. We did have some cruisers that needed repaired. My Tahoe needed a new exhaust fan and an oil change, and one of the Explorers would desperately need tires and brakes. So those were both completed this month, and we have them both back in rotation.
As an estimated cost?
It actually came in lower than on mine. He quoted us, I think, at like 700, and Margaret was at like 435. He did that for.
I think it was 435 on one, and it was, I thought it was 7 on the other one.
That was, the other one was like 700. Well, I think it was actually around 1,000 because it was tires, brakes, and an oil change.
I mean,
So-
between the couple of invoices.
Yeah. So
You need a motion for that?
that's already been done.
Okay.
So I just wanted to keep you guys posted on what's going on with the cars.
Appreciate it.
So trying to keep them in good shape and spend all where we need to. So other than that, that's all I have. Any questions?
Chief, I have a question.
Yes, sir.
What was the officer's name? Did you get that? Who was from Addyston?
Oh, the last name was Sprawl.
Sprawl?
S-P-R-A-U-L.
Oh.
I don't know his first
Yeah.
name. I have it somewhere.
Okay.
But he worked for the Hamilton County Sheriff's Department as a special deputy, and he worked here as well.
Okay.
And he has some old pictures and patches and.
Great.
And I know if I give you the name, you'll remember him. He was here during Carol's time.
Oh, okay, okay. It's vague, I do remember it, yeah. Secondly,
Yes, sir.
there were a ton of emergency vehicles that went through. Was that last night or the night before?
It was last night.
Just, I mean, I counted 6 flashing lights go by my house. Can
Police
you-
cars?
They were county cars, I assume.
There was a dog warden's vehicle caught on fire Saturday night.
Oh,
It was last
It was
night.
last
And then
night.
we had an assistance fund for one of our officers last night.
Yeah,
I'll talk to you before
Yeah.
I throw you under the bus. I'll talk to you.
yeah, just, I'd never seen so many
Yeah.
emergency
It was uncalled
vehicles,
for,
police
but
cars
yes.
Well,
go by.
I'll talk to you.
yeah, we certainly can.
Yeah.
Okay. Any others?
Appreciate it.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you, Eric. Dustin, did you have anything?
I have nothing other than just talking about Rumpke. You touched on that. so
Yeah, we're ready to go.
I got a bunch of stuff for you, but
That's good.
I'm getting ready to do a clean out that day.
After easy.
So get the dump truck ready, all right?
Mayor,
And-
I did have one thing that I missed
Okay,
on my sheet between people here. I was stopped for complaint at Quarry Lane. The bottom of Quarry Lane is disintegrating. I didn't know, I think it would need to go back about 8 feet to kind of, it's still going to be rough, but that'll get it corrected. I didn't know if you wanted to take bids, get numbers on that, and bring them back to council, just to kind of see what that would cost, because it is
Where's it at?
almost.
Where's it at?
Quarry Lane, where Daltons live, yeah, that road that
Oh,
goes
well,
back there.
that's
Yeah.
something
I know
that
where you're
also
talking
that
about.
he's got a couple guys that's
Oh,
coming
okay.
in for the bids and things.
Oh,
So we're
yeah.
looking at certain different areas.
Okay, if you wouldn't mind looking at that, I'd appreciate it, Dustin. Yeah.
Get that hole up on Main Street.
Yeah, and also, just so we all know, we kind of mentioned it briefly in the newsletter, and thanks for the newsletter, Mayor, getting it out, that maintenance is making strides to kind of get for the record, try to get the exercise equipment moved. The pattern, both patterns are different, the sizes are a little different.
Yeah.
From the old to the new, and some of the new's not pointed just exactly where we wanted it to be. But maintenance is working on that. And of course, Al and I and the rest of those people are more than happy to help out whenever you get an opportunity to do that.
Did you ever get a mag drill to go down there by any chance?
Not yet.
Not yet. Put it on there, mark it, and mag drill them all at the same time.
Yeah. Gotta get the generator going first. So,
If you need a generator, I got one.
right now.
It's a big bad motor.
That or
Oh, well, you know, I've got one too. It's brand new.
Yeah, I I got a little small one, but I got a great big
That's
one.
good
Break
to
it
know,
If you need
man.
one, I've got one.
We used it for doing concrete down there, so, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've got one.
Yeah,
if
we'll
you need
deal
one.
with that. We'll make sure we get it done somehow or another.
Thank you, sorry.
No, no problem. We'll go to our water board president, Jason.
All right, in front of you, you'll see, because at that meeting, we were talking about going per gallon. If you really want to do that, you're looking at almost $90,000 to replace 300 meter heads. Not the actual meters itself that have the water, these would be the meter heads. If you want to go per gallon price, then you got to figure out what kind of price you're going to charge per gallon. If you want an accurate reading down to the gallon, that's the only way we're going to be able to do it, is to put in these new digital meters.
This is a quote for the meters.
Just for, and the thing is with those, we're actually, what we're doing is as the old meters go out, we're getting the new meters in. So we're replacing them like 5 to 10 at a time. So we're not shelling out 90,000 right off the bat. Probably even more than that, really, because you gotta buy extras.
So you're saying it's like $150 a piece?
They're not cheap.
Or that's $302 for one? Yeah, because I seen item one, quantity two,
Mm-hmm.
it was 302. Is that for two of them or one of them?
That's for one.
I see what you're saying.
So basically, 1,054, that's for 1 meter, to do one.
What's this two?
So times that by however many meters you have in the
Right.
village.
You're saying, yeah,
Start looking for
1,054.
grants.
Ouch.
Yeah. I had to look for grants for that.
Well, when the original meters were put in, we did that through Hamilton County Community Development.
Yeah.
And at that time, it was like $42,000.
Mhm.
And that wasn't every meter. That was so many meters.
Like I said, what we're doing is, as they come up, we're getting the new meters in. But there's gonna be a lot more involved with it than just putting the new meters. You're gonna have to figure out a new rate if you go by gallon. So it'd be like going to a gas pump. However many gallons is what you pay for it. And then you also saw, I don't know, Bob, do we need an ordinance to adjust that to 3,000?
Should have one.
Yes.
Okay, if you could get a, write up an ordinance for us on that.
That minimum 3,000 gallons?
What's that?
Was that a minimum of 3,000 gallons?
The minimum was 2,000, we raised it to 3,000. Then anything over 3,000, you pay the overages.
So what's the base?
3,000 is the base.
So that's what you're gonna charge for 3,000 gallons of water every month?
What's being charged for the base now? We're not raising the rates yet. We're just raising the gallons.
A gallon, I got you.
So whatever the rate is right now is the same rate that's going to be paid. It's just we're going 1,000 more gallons as opposed to the 2,000.
In essence, Jason, don't you think that lowers your income, or is that your thought, to lower your income?
It'll lower it some, but not much.
Yeah, because if you're gonna lower it now and then up the rate later, it's kind of...
Well, the way we're doing the rate increase, we're doing it 1% a year for 3 years. We're not doing it all at one time.
Okay.
So it's going to be a 1% rate increase. I don't think it's been almost 20 years since we've had a rate increase in the water.
217,
Since when?
217. The last time it was raised, and that's the last time MSD was raised, because it was always based on what MSD told us.
Right.
Told
Just like the
water board we
gallons
had
was
to
based
do.
off of MSD. The 2,000 gallons originally was based off MSD's minimum, what they charge per gallon, for their rates, was the 2,000.
But that's the last time there's been a water and sewer rate. It was in 217.
6 years ago.
It's been a while.
Yeah.
But like I said, we're doing it 1% at a time, so that it doesn't hit everybody at once a year. Then also is mentioned that somebody forgot to mention that we are looking at a digital meter for over there. It didn't get mentioned at that meeting back in March. I noticed when I watched it. But we have been discussing getting a digital meter over there. And if you look, that's the price. That's why it's taken us a while, because it's $13,000.
Didn't something happen to that when the power went out or
Just
something?
one, huh?
Didn't something happen to that when the power went out or something?
That was
It shut
the
off,
pumps.
it wouldn't let it shut the water off and just kept flowing up at the tank?
That was up at the tank, yeah. This is the meter that goes over in the pit,
Right.
over at the pumps, not at the tank.
Will that be kind of put in a place where they don't have to go
No, it's
underground?
gonna be the same place as
Same
where it's at.
place.
But you're gonna be able to read it digitally. It's gonna be a digital meter, Bluetooth.
Okay, but you won't have to go down.
You won't have to go down to read it.
Yeah, that's great.
So it's just a matter of, we just had to wait till you had the money, because you're talking, roughly $14,000.
You're gonna have to wait until you get some money to get that, because you're, right now, you're spending 20-something thousand to do repairs and clean you up at your tank.
Right, the tank, yeah.
And that is EPA required.
Requirement.
So
Yeah,
that,
exactly.
unfortunately, that
That comes
has to come
first.
first.
So yeah, the EPA, that requires all that fun stuff. Then the other thing I wanted to bring about is making the clerk full-time. I know it's been brought up a couple times. That way she can help out Margret and Aaron. We never mentioned anything about their salaries. The only thing we ever mentioned was bringing her on full-time. Never mentioned anything about raises or anything like that. That's up to you guys to do. So I guess Bob would have to do an ordinance and the water board would approve it and then it would come back to the council, or
Council would have to approve it.
the water board doesn't have to do anything with it, just the council?
Essentially, the water board, if they pass it, they're making a recommendation to the village council, and the village council reviews it, and if they approve it, then it happens.
So I guess I need you to make an ordinance for that.
Well, just a little discussion concerning that. Do you have any idea what you might pay her at her same rate?
At the same rate, yeah.
But
The
it-
rate's not gonna change
The
till
rate's
you
not
guys
gonna
vote for a
change.
raise.
Okay.
No, the rate's not gonna change, it's just putting her at 40 hours.
Okay.
But it would also include vacation, sick leave, insurance,
All the benefits.
all the benefits.
Right.
Mhm.
But right now, she's the only one that's not. And I'm hearing rumors about people not getting paid for meetings. I don't know how that works, but I'm pretty sure you have to pay for anybody that comes to a meeting, if they're required to be there. I've never gone to a meeting at my job and not get paid for it. That's the rumor I'm hearing. I don't know if it's true or not, but that's going around the rumor mill. So meaning if the clerk and the water board maintenance come to a meeting, they're not supposed to get paid. I don't think you can legally do that, can you, Bob? If you require them?
What's your ordinance say?
Oh, I don't. Ours says it pays them. We pay them for their hours.
Then the next question is, did council ratify that?
It's been a long time. I don't remember.
Actually, the water board clerk used to work by contract.
Right.
And it was in the contract. That was the same way it was for the water board maintenance employees. And that was covered in their contract where they came to the meetings. And in that time. Whatever the job description that was voted on 2 or 3 years ago, and it's in the policy and procedures, that's what you would go by. Because you no longer have that type of personnel
No longer.
in those titles by contract.
And the other thing too, we're gonna take back over flushing of the water lines.
I started to ask that When the lieutenant mentioned it.
No, they haven't been doing it, so we're gonna start doing it again, but it's gonna require the help of somebody from Cleves. It's not a one-person job. But they can do it in one night.
Why not
In a
just
few
use a
hours.
maintenance guy?
Yeah.
Huh?
Maintenance can't do it.
What do you mean
That's
by
my
we're
question.
taking it back?
Nobody's been flushing them. Flushing the system. They've been flushing the hydrants,
Who
but
has?
nobody's been flushing the system itself.
Yeah, that should be a water maintenance guy doing it.
Well, we thought the fire department was,
No,
did somebody
no,
put it,
that-
said the
they're
fire
just on
department?
maintenance, no, that, the whole thing with fire hydrants on them was just about checking to make sure the functionality, that wasn't for our water system benefit.
Oh,
Yeah, that was just for the functionality, make sure that they can, obviously, when there's a fire, they know that hydrant works.
Yeah, like what we ran into.
Yeah,
Day we
they
needed
weren't
to use
flushing
it.
nothing, no.
And it was broken. Remember, they had. to-
Yeah, and they had, yeah,
I
they
remember
we had
that
to
day.
deal with that one.
but we're gonna start doing it ourselves every 3 months.
Yeah, we should never stop that.
No, I don't know why it ever stopped, but
Me neither.
Could you not use our own personnel? Why would you need somebody from Cleves when
You
we
still
have,
need
we
two
have 3
people.
men? Well, yeah, but we have
Oh,
a full-time maintenance and then we have a supervisor.
you can use them, I believe.
He's over there grinning like, yep, you do.
I mean, it doesn't have to be, I just thought somebody from the water department.
You just got drunk loading.
Always does. I think I can operate one.
Turn the wrench. Let her flow.
Then the other thing that was mentioned is about water pressure and the color of water. Even though you replace all the pipes in your house, if you don't replace the pipe that goes from the street to your house, then you've defeated the purpose.
I've done that and I'm still getting the same stuff.
Okay.
I replaced it from the top of the house all the way down, all the way to the meter.
Did you get a new tap put in?
Brand new.
When was that?
That was 2017.
Didn't have Tony look at that, but as far as I know, no new taps have been put in.
Yeah, it's
There's no way that much.
it still comes up there, you know what I mean? And I got a brand new meter and all, everything. I went from top to bottom, because we had a big argument for 2 months over it. So finally I got everything brand new, dug the yard up, put it all down there. It's still happening.
And the house that's on the hill.
And the house is
Yeah.
on the hill. Just gotta
Mine's
push the water
the
up.
same
We
way
don't stand a
with
chance in the low.
And I'll be lucky if I get 30 pounds of pressure.
Yeah,
If
the
I do
pressure
that,
I
that's
have on
a
that
damn
hill's
good
bad.
day.
I can't,
I get 30
I
pounds
can't
of
do
pressure.
laundry and have somebody take a shower at the same time.
It's like that for all of them, because
Yeah.
even my
you
son
can't
lives
get
up
nothing.
there, so I know.
Yeah.
You can't get no pressure.
Are you done with the water, Grandma?
You're supposed to have 30 pounds of pressure at the,
Right, but it's a gravity-fed system, so
and
it's the same way in my house. I live on Secretary. But when I lived down on Main Street, it'd blow you out of the damn
I
house.
wish you'd do that to me. I'd enjoy it.
Yeah, I can't complain about my pressure, I ain't gonna lie.
It's very.
He's next to me, so I got
You guys are on flat
Clean
ground.
lines.
Yeah, you guys are on a flat ground.
Well, I'm on flat ground. We don't have our own blood pressures.
I know my pressure's up.
And the other
Toilet
thing,
takes 5 minutes
people
to
had
go.
mentioned about a water filter, there's no way we can do it over there. We don't have the land and we don't have the space. If you look at the new building in Cleves, that's their water filter. We have to get our own land in order to do that. That building's not big enough. So we'd have to move everything, like Lisa was saying, to this lot up here closest to the highway, if we could get it from Enios or
If they give us a spot right there, just to.
What's that?
If they would give us a spot right there, that'd be great.
That's something that me and Bob were going to discuss.
Yeah, we
Wow.
can certainly try.
Yeah. Say if nothing else, get
And as far as the water lines going from the meters to the houses, I think we're looking into grants because of the whole lead pipe thing. I'm getting some of those replaced.
Could you do the meters at the time you do that?
What's that?
Could you include the new meters at the time that you're doing that?
Yeah, we're trying, like I
Most of
said,
them
we're
are
trying to get
starting
them.
on, because I know what you're referring to again, because that's all part of the Secatan project because of being so huge, so they're gonna be starting up there, so yeah, I understand what you're talking about, so a lot of the lead they're gonna be replacing, and some of that's gonna be going to people's houses even, so.
Yeah, but that's
Yeah.
what we're going for.
I mean,
We're
that's
trying,
still a ways off a bit, but it's started.
right, we're trying to get the money to replace those lines as much as we can. Because that seems to be a lot of the problems with the pressure and the coloration of the water and that kind of stuff. Because some of these lines that are probably going from the street to the house are probably 50, 60, 70 years old. So it's like arteries in your body, they start hardening after a while until they get cleaned out or put new in.
What's the cost on that? Maybe some
Pretty
homeowners
arteries.
would want to do it, then, you know, or pay to have it done.
Well, a new tap is what, $1,500, something like that?
Yeah.
I
Ken
think-
Dyer will flush your lines out. It's like hydro flush.
Yeah.
Send somebody out and snake it out.
It's probably worth it to some people.
Sure.
Yeah, even
They
put
would
that
do it on their
information
own.
out there from, what was it, Mear that does that for you, yeah. Maybe put that out there on the water bill, maybe give, so that citizens have that information if they wanna choose to do that.
Okay, as opposed to paying them $1,500 for a new tap.
Have them come out and do that first, yeah.
See if it
Because-
helps.
Yeah, because once the line reaches the property, that's the end of the village responsibility for it.
But it's good for the residents to know they've got an option though, you know what I mean? That would be good.
Right, to where they're not putting a new tap where they could try to get that blown out, yeah.
Yeah. Because I'm sure a lot of them don't know what to do, and they're just saying the water department, but that'd be good to let them know the information.
Yeah, I'll have Lisa put that on the next water bills. If you could give her the information, because you'll see her before I will.
I just want to throw a question out there. Would it make sense when we're doing secondhand and things like that to run the water downhill rather than pushing it uphills like the Owls and Margaret's? If we're on secondhand, you know, would you get better pressure if it's running downhill?
I don't know. I don't know how it's running up there, because I don't know, Jennifer, you're up there.
No, she's down there.
Yeah,
She's up on
the other
second.
Jennifer's up there.
Oh, okay. Sorry, Jennifer.
I don't know.
But see, I don't know how it runs down to my end. This runs differently than down
Yeah,
to Margaret's
you're
end.
level with the line on second.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, these guys are coming off Owl, Margaret, they're all coming off of
The
Main
Main
Street.
Street.
Right, it's shooting it up. Okay, so it's coming off from Main, so it really should be switched to coming off of.
I don't know if that would help, but something at least we can think about.
You better come
I don't
downhill
know
and go
why.
up.
Right,
I mean, that's something that was done way before
I
any
mean,
of our
I can
time.
Oh,
talk
yeah.
to them.
yeah.
Why they ran it uphill as opposed to coming down from second hand? Maybe because the Main Street pipe is bigger than the second
I
street
mean, at least
pipe.
offer the people
I
that
think the Main
option,
Street
but they
pipe's
still
an
have to
8-inch
pay
pipe,
for
the
the
second
pump.
hand is a 4-inch.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
But offer up the tabs at least.
Well, then you got people like me, the person back of me, she may not want me, I mean, I don't know how you get.
Yeah,
that.
see, that's why I said we'll have to just have them look at it and see if that's a possibility.
Yeah, it's something, like I was telling Danny, it's just a matter of that's probably how they did it when they put the water lines in the first place.
Water line down
Oh, no
there.
doubt.
It's supposed to be an alley up there. Run the water line down through there. Tap in right there.
And through the center, yeah.
So they're not getting anywhere on this.
No.
Anything else?
Appreciate you coming, Jason.
Thank you, Jason.
You're welcome.
Good evening. Good evening.
My name's
Could
John
you speak?
Terrell.
Yep.
John what?
John Terrell. I own the property at First and Main, 101 First Street. And I'd like to discuss the quality of the water. It's not just the color, it's the debris in it. I don't have a water pressure problem on the bottom of the hill. What I have is the debris in it. And I don't know what I'm supposed to tell a tenant when, you know, she don't want to drink it. And I don't blame her. It's every time it rains hard. It's not my pipes. Everything in my place is new. Except for a 5-foot section going to the street, it doesn't produce that much trash. And it doesn't lead to his house or other places that have the same problem. Now, I hear the tank's being cleaned. When was the last time it was cleaned?
2020,
2020.
yeah.
Well, I've had this problem for at least 7 years. I've mentioned it for that long. I've brought samples of the water down. How is it being tested?
That would be-
The water is tested twice a month.
How?
They are doing a draw of the water. They go to certain areas in the community, and it is actually sent to a laboratory, and they send
What's
back
the
a
debris?
report that says everything that's in the water.
What's all the debris?
Well, I think that a lot of it has to do is because the hydrants haven't been flushed on a regular basis. When that was done on a regular basis, we didn't have a lot of the debris that may be coming now.
Is this all coming from that tank, or?
No.
'Cause you told me the lines
I don't
were-
believe it's coming from the tank. I don't.
John, to my recollection and working with that, having the lines cut open and you can see in the lines, there is a certain amount of buildup on the
I
lines.
understand that.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of debris every time it rains hard.
Every time it
Every
rains
time it
hard.
rains hard, this debris comes down.
I've had it, Danny, just saying, I've had it that thick in my bathtub.
Could something be done
Wow.
with it?
That
But,
thick. I've got.
I mean,
I'm catching what I was
Oh, I
telling my
do too.
tenants and what's coming from my pipes.
Oh, I have
It's
it.
bad.
I see.
I just, I don't know what to tell my tenants.
My thought is that when the lines get stirred up, the debris that's in the lines starts to get stirred up with everything else. And as Margaret was saying, when we were flushing that debris out at night, sometimes it would run for an hour or two in different areas. To continually keep the loose stuff out, we didn't have much of a problem with debris.
They
Not-
did it faithfully, like
Yeah, oh,
every
yeah.
Dan,
2
you
to
know,
3
I
months.
come to you 7 years
They had-
ago with this
they-
problem.
Oh, yeah.
They got away from it because
It
they
just
didn't
got
understand the
worse.
concept of what was
Well-
taking place.
Needs to be done. I mean,
With the mix-up that we just had, thinking that the
Well, explain.
Miami Township was
Yeah, you
doing
never-
it,
yeah.
and Jason not knowing that they should have been doing
Just
it.
not do it.
You know,
Yeah.
they
If
just
the,
don't
if
want
the
what it
maintenance
is.
stuff is not being done,
Yeah,
it needs done,
That's
I'm not
exactly
blaming,
right.
you know, he's been here long enough.
Well, yeah, that's not his department either, it's the water board
I've been dealing
maintenance
with this ever
guy.
since I took over with my father, and it's a
Sure.
mess.
Sure,
And
I can turn my bathtub on now at different times, even though
so we all.
my
agree that
kitchen's
there's a lot of
okay.
debris.
The last place on my line where my bathroom is, yeah, I gotta flush it out before I can take a bath because the water's brown and has little, you're right, I agree.
Well,
I said, all my plumbing's new, and I don't have a pressure problem. And I
And-
understand the old pressure, the pipes are clogged up, I get that. The screens, everything. I've replaced all that.
You know, there
except
are
for a section.
periodically times, John, when somebody will come in the village with a water truck and they help themselves. And if somebody doesn't stop them or somebody doesn't see them, that stirs up water in the bottom. And we've had people
Well, then
come in.
basically, the whole
and,
problem
you know.
is we need to flush the system.
Well, yeah, and it's
Seems to-
scheduled for
that
the
would
end of
help
the
a
month.
lot.
It's scheduled
It
for
used to
April
help.
Because I truly, I've
30th.
been screaming about this for 7 years, and I just don't know what to tell my tenants anymore, because I wouldn't expect them to drink it.
Yeah, well,
It's hard to convince somebody when it looks like their coffee coming out of the tap.
I mean, I think we've all experienced where you turn on the tap and it's dark or
It's quite regular.
You know, well,
Or I wouldn't be here.
I've not had it right, you know, regularly, but I'm just saying, they do have it scheduled, and it went out in the newsletter. If you have a post office box here, you should have received a village newsletter that says they've got it scheduled, and they'll be doing it every 3 months.
Okay. But I know I've replaced everything in my building, a few foot piece going to the meter in it, and I have pressure fine. It's the debris coming through, and it didn't come from that pipe. There's way too much of it.
It
And you
came
should
from the
probably
main,
call
I can
every
assure you.
time. Call the water.
That's what I
every
was
time.
Well, I have
I
over the
did.
years.
I've called too and told them, and I was the only
I've complained quite a bit
one.
over the years.
And I'm right around the corner where he's
Destroyed
talking about.
My,
The bishop has
shade
trouble,
and
too.
everything.
Yeah, that's what I did. And I'm right 2 doors from the bishop, 3
Well,
filters.
I figure we're right at the bottom of the hill,
Before
it's
it got to
coming
the
down
ice
heavy.
machine.
Yeah.
And it's still just.
And I know I had better
I've seen
pressure down
videos from
on the
his
highway
tub,
than I
so
have down
it's
here.
That's why I don't have as
Pam,
much from my house
did you
filter.
have
It hits the house
filters that
filter before it
Mr.
touches
Benter
me.
used to
Yes,
have?
they're still there.
Still
They're
using it?
awful.
The other question,
Yes,
Yeah, and they get dirty like
I
that.
can look at them every day.
if we, why can't we put filters
But it
at
still
the
comes
tank
out dark.
and not on, put it on our property?
doesn't-
Put it in my.
That's what Jason was just talking
How
about,
expensive it is.
Yeah.
putting in a
But
filter
it
system.
doesn't have
Yeah, if we don't
anything
own
to
the
do
property,
with the
well,
tank.
put it up at the tank, put it in my
It'd
garage,
be
do
the
something.
treatment
Because
facility.
I wouldn't be able to put business in front of my
Treatment facility.
place.
It's flushing
without
is
some
the
type of
answer.
filter system. Go ahead and do this.
They can set that up, they
And
can
this was
do
still-
it
this is with the
every
filter.
2
I'm
months,
getting
every
it.
3
I
months.
do it once a month.
I get it
for a while.
still with the filter.
Oh, yeah.
Well, I
Get it with the
discussed
filter.
putting a filter in my building, but
It'll help, but
I'll
it'll,
have to keep changing the filter.
It helps when I'm
the one paying
changing
for water
mine
already that's supposed to be clean.
every 2 weeks.
So,
Every 2 weeks I change mine, so I feel for you on that one. Because I have a house filter,
That's what I have.
and I did it for this reason.
Right where it comes
And
in.
it's not cheap.
No, the house filter's not cheap.
Well, the matter needs referred back to
He left.
I guess we clean the tank, we'll see what happens, but
That
you know.
and
We are doing
flushing
a
of the
dry
lines.
clean out of that tank. That's coming soon. Because basically what they do, they take every bit of sediment off the bottom of that tank and yank it out.
A lot of it.
So hoping that'll help too.
I hope so, or I'll be back here again.
They'll be surprised though when they open that tank. Because we cleaned it one time after, I don't know how many years it's never been cleaned. When they got in there, it's like, oh my God, there's not that much happening in there. But I know, we had to
A lot of
follow the
sediment and
rules.
debris. A lot of sediment and debris, probably.
Didn't find much when we opened it the last time. Didn't find much at all.
I'm getting a lot of
They
it.
should take pictures
I
of
expected
that,
to see this.
They do,
Show
they
people.
put a camera down in there and they look
I
to
see
see
the
what's
floor
going on.
Wow.
Because they're also looking at the inside of the tank, the condition of it.
Well, then they need to go other avenues where the problem
They
is.
can run some
You know,
cameras down
just
some
keep
lines,
Till
yeah.
we figure it out.
Yeah, well,
Okay,
I don't think
we're at
it's.
step one. Let's see how that works.
Yeah.
okay.
Thanks, John.
When is the water board meeting?
Second Monday of every month at 5:30.
John, did you hear that? Did you hear that?
What's that?
The water board meeting?
Yeah. I just missed last one. I broke my foot a couple weeks ago, or I'd have been here, last week? Or
That way you can,
Thursday.
you can refer a lot of that back to them and ask them what they think about it, if flushing's gonna help or not, you know what I mean?
Well, I keep telling you, if it doesn't any better, I'll inform you. Pam, you're right around the corner. I know the district's out.
And she's right past me.
I know.
Yeah, so it's like,
Good, I don't have any pulls on.
Hello. Don't have much of a water problem.
well, that's
Good
great.
thing. But I just have a question. How do you address like when Jason was up here talking? How if I had a question for him, can I ask him a question from the audience or?
I
how
think
to-
so. I do get recognized.
That's why I was kind of like, after he got up here, I'm like, dang it, he's already.
Yeah, he left because I had a question for the lieutenant and stuff. He was like,
Oh, you talked to him before,
they
okay.
talk
We had a
out the door. It's like,
Yeah.
Okay,
The
good.
mayor will help you if you raise your hand. She'll,
Yeah.
okay.
Usually if I see somebody
And
raise their
I just had
hand,
a
I'll-
question for Jason. It's kind of like trying to figure out on my water bill for my tenant. I know we just get 2,000 gallons, Now, he raised it to 3. Now, did the price raise? I had to go through my bills. The price did, I'm
It
still paying
hasn't raised
the
yet.
2,000 gallon price for 3,000 minimum, correct?
It will,
So
but nothing has happened yet.
But it will.
They're gonna make an adjustment once the ordinance is passed, that it will, anything above the 3,000 will click in and start, you'll
Does
be.
you know how much? Because see, I charge so much for rent and I got everything budgeted in there
And it's
for
$12.
going out. So if it's going to raise,
No, it's like 26 something.
I thought it was 12 something.
No, because, no.
She's talking about the base rate. She's
Yeah.
talking about the
But
overage.
Yeah,
the
the
overage is,
That's why I was like, I want to clear up the two.
so much per
Twelve
gallon.
something.
right?
Yeah.
It used to be 4 something. Have they
I
doubled
think
that?
it's
I
12.
think it's
But
12 something.
If they're
Well,
measuring
they,
per
I should know.
thousand,
If
I
they
can't remember my
doubled that,
bill.
then they're going to
So
get
it's gonna
the
be
ordinance because that's what the
12,000
ordinance
or
is.
$12 for 1,000.
Yeah.
Like
Over.
That's a,
over
yeah, the
2,000.
overage.
So it's going to be
Over the
3,000 at an additional $12 or $20.
No, that's
No.
3,000
$3,000
a
goes
day.
free now. You're getting a break.
Same price, same
Same
exact
price.
price.
Yeah, so
But
they're just raising your
anything
3,000
over
gallons,
the
that's
3,000,
Okay.
you would be
Yeah,
charged
that's a lot of-
a different amount.
So yeah, what they'd be doing is changing it
Because
to,
I think the last bill was like, had the 3,000 on there. I'm thinking, because I also take care of condominium complex. And I do the water bill. So like if there's one water bill that's higher, I'm calling them like, you got a toilet running, what's, water leak or something, because it all comes out of budgets.
Right.
So, okay, that's all I had really. Oh, Quarry Lane, I was asking, Jason, was that easement sold on Quarry Lane, or is it just, because you just had the
An
thing for?
easement? We've never
On
sold
Quarry
an
Lane?
Yeah, so the whole paper is still owned by,
Oh,
it's all the way down to like by,
I've heard some street talk about that too, about who owns that. We have paper streets that run behind
right, is
the
that still
property
easement owned
that
by
are-
Addyston, or is
that
it?
Loop
belong
Street. That's Loop Street
Loop
that it all
Street.
runs up
Yep.
Or
to.
he goes up
And
the
it-
loop.
And it's a paper street. It's an
Yeah.
imaginary street or paper
Yes.
street that all the
Mhm.
houses up there on Second Street.
That one's actually.
And that-
Well, actually down on Main Street.
Yeah, well, it's gonna run up the hillside because
Okay.
Second Street shuts off and then you got Addyston Street that I know because my parents used to own property up on Second Street and I do
Okay.
know about the Loop Street.
Loop
Okay.
Street. It is.
So is
Street.
it still an easement? Or is
Yeah.
it private property?
Yeah, it's nothing I don't think we've decided
not
to
done
sell or
anything
try
with that.
try to sell. It's just paper street and we own it.
Yeah, the village owns.
Okay, because I know like
It's
the
almost like
first,
a
the
right
first
of way.
street off of the Main
Yeah.
Street, then there's another lot between it. So is the easement between the first property off the street and the second one there's, because I was just looking at the map back here, I was just trying to read it.
Okay.
So, all right, I'll dig in some more information and ask questions as I need to. That's it?
Thanks. Appreciate
Thank
you
you.
coming down.
Dan, is the top of that tank open?
Is what's
The
the
water tank, is the top open?
No.
No.
Okay.
No, it's covered. Yeah.
That's why I said, I didn't know if it would rain maybe to agitate something, but it
Yeah,
seems
that's
to be,
possibility.
when it rains real hard, we have trouble.
Yeah, that's
I didn't know how it would be, but.
Oh, that'd be
unless it was open,
crazy.
I didn't know.
Yeah.
Can I ask the chief and Dustin a question?
Yeah.
You know, they cut the lines over the water on the security camera or something.
Oh, when they cut the one down,
Yeah, and they want to know what the restitution is for it. Because I got a call from the prosecutor's office today and wanted to know if we were proceeding with restitution. And she started describing it. I said, hell yeah, we are.
yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
So we got to figure out what the cost is.
Did you need them to talk during the meeting?
What do we call it?
I got the bill. I have the bill on cameras.
On the restitution?
On the cameras, what they cost the village. I have the cost
You
of
can go
that.
right on.
You want me to
Fix it.
scan it and give it to you tomorrow?
Yeah, if you give it to me. Yeah.
I don't know. It's on the
We can just get another one.
Yeah.
About
That's it.
Do you want their rate of pay for, like, maintenance of taking down, putting them up, or just?
Yeah.
Okay,
Just put it all in.
okay.
Yeah, might as well.
Yeah, I mean, you got
Nothing else?
Amazon.
Nothing else come before council?
Well, yes, we have to get to committee still.
You got to, oh. I thought,
Hold
yeah,
on.
no wonder I was
don't
saying, hey,
forget.
Mayor, I need to get this in.
Yeah, I'm like, wait a minute. No, I was just getting with, but you don't need them.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, so now we'll get to our committee. Stan Phillip.
Mayor, I have expressed all that I have. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you, Dan. Jennifer?
We did have a laws and contracts meeting on April 5th. We discussed overtime with the chief, and we discussed what was an emergency and what is not, such as no power, natural disaster, someone being sick. What's not an emergency, an open shift that has been on the schedule, suggested to move officers around to cover shifts. Was told that we now have 3 full-time employees and 7 part-time, so going forward, we would have fewer open shifts, and it looks like that's already been rectified. Thank you, definitely appreciate it. He also stated, Chief did, that he did not have his budget for the year. So I think that we do need to get that to him, so that way he is more aware of what's going on.
I have it now.
You do have it now?
They get,
Okay.
Mayor got for that done.
Okay, thank you.
When I brought it downstairs that day.
Thank you. Discuss mutual aid. We discussed setting up a meeting with Hamilton County Sheriff's Department. Police policy and procedure manual. Asked Mr. Bob to come and have a sit down with us on the verbiage for job descriptions, and that meeting did take place. And I'll have that update later. And that's it.
All right. Thank you, Jennifer.
Thank you.
Miss Ann?
I said candy, I looked over here, I couldn't find any.
I know you're.
Come back down.
Chew it up.
Well, I could. I can step down if you want her.
Yeah, go ahead.
Mal, did you have anything?
Oh, yes, I do, matter of fact. What's going on with this Darren Batchelder? What's going on with that, I guess, the water clerk of the town? with all this money or something was missing, and what's going on with that deal? Because I know Bob said he was
Oh, that's
gonna get
something
with
that Bob's
Bob.
dealing with right now. I know what you're talking about, the auditor's findings.
But I know they were saying it was 5 days or whatever, so I didn't know if,
That's fine.
We're just working on that from the standpoint to make sure it doesn't reflect on the village. And if she's incompetent, that's gonna be an issue in terms of whether there is a recovery or is not a recovery and what assets were available to her. That may percolate up through the Board of Public Affairs.
yeah, I was just kind of wondering what was going on with that, because I seen where it was 5 days to respond, so I was like, we better do it now. I mean,
Yeah, he's on it.
I sent that email to him and he sent me an email back. And then I was gonna call him up and make sure we're squared away on that. Just to make sure the village doesn't have an issue.
All right, thank you. Other than that, I don't have nothing.
All right,
Thank
thanks,
you.
Al. Pam?
I really don't have anything as far as committee or anything, but on that note, when he's talking about that, the issue with cash, I honestly think the village should go to like a cashless, where any payments that we take, nothing should ever be by cash. Just make it like credit card, which we already have, check, anything on that order, so this would never happen again. I mean, it'd be more accountability with everything electronic or, instead of hands with
question.
money, yeah.
One question on that. Isn't there an act of 1964, Coin Shortage Act, that I know private businesses can put a debit card on or no cash, but what about a public entity like the village?
You have to ask Solicitor.
Because I think that a lot of communities, I mean, you can't even, they won't even take cash from you.
I do know
You
that
have-
you
you have
do
to
have
take-
quite a
You
few,
have to take cash.
quite a few people in your community come down
Yeah.
here with
I
the
mean,
exact
I mean-
coinage.
Yeah.
That's for sure.
Yeah.
I carry cash
Some of
in
the,
my pocket.
yeah, I know a lot of our, especially a lot of our older residents. But still, I just think that under what we've been through and what's happened, it's not over yet.
I think that as long as we have a system, just a simple system, where you give the person a receipt, you have a copy of the receipt,
Yeah.
and you give it to whoever's responsible for receiving those, then that should not be a problem.
But something
I don't
happened.
think we should go to credit cards and,
Well, I'd like to go into more detail as soon as Bob gets more information too, exactly
Right.
what happened. See, we
mean-
don't know exactly.
But
or
on the
do.
same note, you do
Eventually.
have something put in place by me, working with the
Right.
2 other people with monies for the monthly audits or
Right.
that.
What was you saying, Bob?
I said eventually,
Yeah.
you're gonna have to carry a plastic card.
Well, that's because.
'Cause cash is good.
Yeah,
Please?
that's that bill they're trying to, they passed up in Washington.
Well,
They'll probably-
to be honest with you, I'm against credit cards because it's just another way of tracking
Right.
everything you
I
do.
believe that.
Yes,
I'm all-
I'm absolutely
I think so.
against that.
So am I. I mean, I walk around with cash too.
Oh, good
Because,
to know.
I mean, seriously, wherever, if I wanna buy something, I'll buy it, but I don't need everybody looking over my shoulder.
That is a good option to do EFT or electronic banking, but I mean, credit cards, I know Al's a business owner, wouldn't you get charged a fee for processing that?
Yep,
Would that be
3%.
an extra burden on the financial of the village?
You don't pass that to the customer.
They just pass it on to the customers.
If it's
Now can't.
over
But
$10.
the village residents can vote
No,
on that.
if it's
but
under
not
$10,
passing it,
Oh, got you.
can they?
The way it's set up with mayor's court, the system we use with the mayor's court, they actually, the credit card company, it's done, the fees are done through them. It's not passed on like
To
to the
us.
village. Same way with the water. If you do it online with the water, they have it set up where that company gets the fee for you using their service. All we see is what's deposited into our account, the amount that they paid.
People still do it.
Ours takes out 3% at the end of the month.
Yeah, it all depends on which card it is, what
Right.
percentage they use.
Yep.
For like Mayor's Court, I think she's got like maybe 4 or 5, just about all the cards out there we take. For the water, it's probably the same way.
Yeah, electronic, everything.
Did you have anything else, Pam?
No, that
The
was
same?
I have a very short report this evening, though I have a long paper, and everybody has it. Everybody has a copy of it. The only thing that we actually added, that we discussed all this in council, we just updated the committee, and we updated them on the fact that the mayor had been in contact with KLH and Duke Energy as we work to get electric into the park. The estimated amount for that is $20,500 just to install the pole, wire, and the transformers. And that does not include any digging, running of conduit, or a concrete slab for the box. And we also talked about the grant that we got from Hamilton County, along with the one we had from We Thrive previously, to give us $30,000 toward getting the basketball court in over to playground. And we also, the fact that we
I'll mention that.
located some $26,630 that was already on board, and we were able to take a portion of that so that we'd be able to get the basketball court installed, and hopefully that'll start in June, hopefully. And that's all I have to say at this time.
I just wanted to make a quick correction there. I noticed something, the 40,000 in the COVID fund for the water, that's not actually a COVID account. That was for the engineering and the C-factor testing, which they didn't pay for everything that they had promised they were gonna pay for. So I just wanted to correct that. It's not anything to do with any COVID anything. That was a grant. And we are still gonna talk with them and try to get something, maybe getting water to the
That
park,
was for when
something
they
like
tested
that.
the water.
We just need to see if they could release it from the way the grant was written initially.
For the water valve testing and that type of
just
stuff.
factor testing, yeah. But that's it.
Very good. And when the Congress gets finished getting the budget done this year, they're going to reclaim the COVID money anyway, so if you got some, spend it.
Yeah.
And that's all I have to say today.
Thank you, Miss Ann.
If there's nothing else, I'd like to make a motion to dismiss.
I'll second.
Motion by
Thank you.
Miss Ann, second by Dan Pillow to adjourn. Call for the
Thank you
vote.
much.
Dan Pillow,
Oh, yay.
Jennifer Wiehe,
Yeah.
Ann Pillow,
Yay.
Al Glick,
Yeah.
Pam Jackson.
Yay.
Trying to get this done 20 minutes ago.